to my channel, Mama. Today I have a special lady here in front of you. Her name is Denise Chiriboga. She is a personal trainer, founder of the Strong Moms, and she's from Markham. I am in Toronto, so we are in the same province. So I'm really excited to have her on here. She has lots of experience with working moms who are postpartum, and today we have a topic that I don't usually talk about on my channel. Is about C-sections. So when can we start doing C-sections? How are we going to go about doing that? And what kind of exercises to do? And then, some people say that they have that C-section shower. Like, what do I do about that? How to get rid of that belly? So I really wanted to have Denise here and we can chime in and talk about these topics. So welcome to my channel, Denise.
Great. Thanks for having me so much, Becky. It's good to be here. Yeah, I've talked a lot about C-section and specifically exercise after C-section on my YouTube channel. I like to lay it out. And like you said, what should we do when? And this is a huge question, right? Like such a big question. So I like to break it out into guidelines as opposed to a timeline, because I get the question a lot. I am 1 year postpartum. Exactly. What can I do? Or, I might post a video specific for a C-section. People are like, I am exactly 2 months and 3 weeks. Can I do this? And so I like to work
That's
with
so specific.
I know. I like to work with a guideline as opposed to a timeline. So for the purpose of today, for this conversation, I do have, three kind of section guideline for you. So where I like to start is zero. Let's say you're just 0 to 6 or 8 weeks postpartum. That's usually when the doctors, the OBs will give you, kind of the all clear. You're not in their care anymore. And they basically send you off and you don't know what to do as far as exercise. And you are, kind of just lost. But maybe you are you just had a C-section and you're really not thinking about that yet because everything is protected, right? You've still got Band-Aids on, everything like that. This is actually a big time when we can affect how the shelf looks, whether it's diastasis recti or the way that, the C-section scar is healing. And so one of the biggest things that we can do is use compression during this time. So what I mean by compression is there are special compression leggings, underwear, shorts that we can wear. I think probably with most postpartum women, they know that there are, postpartum belts or wraps. Those are great, but there are specific ones made for after C-section. And so they come up really high. So they come up about this high. So what happens is they provide compression around, even compression around the whole abdomen, around where the scar is, so that it can help that scar heal better. It can help compress everything to prevent or to help diastasis recti heal in those early 6 to 8 weeks. So compression is one of the biggest things that we can do.
And when would you say
Yeah.
you should wear the compression? Like, would you say that within a few days or?
Okay, so think about this. If you've ever put on a really, really tight pair of gym shorts, they're really tight. The first few days, you are not going to be wanting to get into anything really tight. So usually around 2 to 3 weeks, postpartum is where you can, start to move a little bit freer and feel comfortable putting on some compression garment. That's number one that we can do to help with the scarring and the shelf. Now let's talk about, exercise. What are we doing around this time? So just thinking back to my sister-in-law, my cousin who just had C-sections, and usually, they're feeling good around 2, 3, 4 weeks. And they're like, oh my gosh, what can I do? Right. So, and so I want you to think about this as this is like recovery and rehab. You're starting by walking around in your house, probably, hopefully in a nice sunny day like today. You're trying to, walk around in the neighborhood just little by little. By now, a few weeks postpartum, you're walking up and down the stairs. I want you to think about that as recovery movement. Our bodies are not meant to just, stay home, be wrapped, and not do anything. We have to move. So these are really good things that you can do for recovery. And then a really big one that people really don't think about is just breathing. And Becky, I know you do this a lot with your clients with diastasis, is diaphragmatic breathing. And I'm not even talking about engaging the core yet at this point. It's just really thinking and imagining that you have a balloon in your abdomen. And every time you inhale, you're filling up this balloon. So in this way, we are getting that belly to expand. Definitely really thinking about when you feel good to expand in that belly with diaphragmatic breathing is in itself exercise. And then the other thing we do, thinking about opening up our body and thinking about the C-section shelf, what can we do? We can start to do indirect C-section scar massage. And yes, you can do this 0 to 6 week postpartum. And this is as simple as standing. Maybe it's lifting one arm here. So when you lift your arm, what do you feel, right? What do you feel happening in your scar area? Do you feel a gentle pulling? Obviously, we're not, you know, I always talk about a pain scale, 1 to 10, 10 being excruciatingly painful. You don't want that. But what we want to do is open up the front body, and we want our C-section scar to be moving. And then I coordinate this with that diaphragmatic breathing, with arm movements, with leg movements, and it doesn't have to be standing. It can be lying down on your bed when you're, you know, you wake up in the morning or you're ready to go to sleep.
It's like stretching. Oh,
yeah. So biggest thing is 0 to 6 weeks. Yes, you can for sure be doing something, stretching, right? Just very gentle stretches, indirect scar massage movements, stretching with those arms, with your legs, and diaphragmatic breathing. So that's where we start with our rehab and our recovery.
It's amazing. You talked about massage a bit. Do you actually massage that scar area at this time?
No, at this time we wouldn't. We're just doing indirect scar massage. So another thing that we can do for indirect scar massage is, right, not like having to touch the actual scar, but what we want to do is desensitize our scar. How do you feel in the area of your scar? And I'm going to use fingers, piano keys, I call this. Up here, I'm just lightly tapping, okay? How does this feel in your body? What does that feel like? Okay, I feel light touch. I feel a little bit of cold because my fingers are cold. Okay, now let's do those piano keys closer to the C-section scar. How does that feel, right? What we want is the area around your scar to feel like the area up here. We want that area to feel like anywhere else in our body. So if you're feeling pain, if you're feeling numbness, tingling, maybe pulling in one area, eventually we work up to different C-section scar massage techniques to reduce that.
Yes, so important, right? It is your most precious time during those 6 to 8 weeks postpartum. You're carrying your new baby, and all the attention is on her. But don't forget to take care of yourself in that early stage. I think it's great for us to take advantage to help us heal along with the C-section scar area. So it's amazing.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So going on, so remember I said this is a guideline, not a timeline. So kind of in between here, we kind of get into the next 6 to 12 weeks postpartum. And, you know, these sections kind of bleed in together, but we also focus on our ABCs. And I know you teach us too, right? Our alignment, our breathing, and our core connection. So 6 to 8 weeks and even earlier, yes, you can be working on your core connection. So talking about our deep core, our transverse abdominis. Maybe you're a candidate for doing Kegels and pelvic floor contractions. We can work on that. And then movements that are really important to consider. And I want to go back to, you know, thinking about any new mom, not just C-section moms, but thinking about you have a new baby. What's your posture like? You're probably really hunchy. You're probably holding a lot. I know I was holding my baby a lot. I wore my baby a lot in a sling. You probably got the sling on, and you've got this. You got the mother hunching.
Or maybe like using the belly as the cushion for the baby.
Exactly.
I was like
right?
that.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got this habits of the way that we stand and then the way that we hold. So we want to consider what kind of positions are we spending our day in. So we really want to focus on opening up our front body. We want to consider also strengthening in our front body. So consider this position. What's happening over here? These muscles are becoming lengthened and weakened. So we want to start strengthening these muscles as well. So how we're doing this. I love to start. Okay, so as I said, we are, starting to use our transverse abdominis, working into exercises with that. We start to strengthen our back. I love using resistance bands. It really depends. So I want to get this across everybody who's watching. Just because you maybe are 9 weeks postpartum doesn't mean you're at the same phase, kind of phase or stage or strength as your best friend who is also 9 weeks postpartum, right? Every body is different. We all started somewhere differently. So I might give my client at 9 weeks a resistance band to use to start strengthening her back, whereas another client, she needs to build up her core strength and work up to it. This is also the time, 6 to 12 weeks is the time when the discharge from the OB happens, and when moms are like, I am ready to go, I just got the clear, and you and I know this is not the case. So just because your doctor has said, you're gone, I don't need to see you, you're good to go, doesn't mean that you can go back to doing what you did pre-pregnancy or what you even did in pregnancy. And I always have this analogy. I want you to think about your most glorious dream home. It's like a multi-million-dollar complex, and it's gorgeous, okay? You wouldn't build this multi-million-dollar home on a 200-year-old crumbly, cracky foundation of a house. You wouldn't. Same thing with our bodies. Your doctors told you you're done. You can go back to whatever you're doing. But we have to start with rebuilding the foundation, and that's our core. And I know I'm speaking to the choir over here with you, Becky, but it's true, right? We have to really work on that core foundation before we start to load our body, before we start to lift weights or go back to the gym or go back to CrossFit or whatever it is. So at this time,
or some people will just be too afraid to do more. They still are not too sure. Yes, my doctor say that I can exercise now. Like, and maybe they have never really done exercises before baby, and now they're so lost at where to even begin. And I think you made a really good point. Everybody is different, and that we should always start with core and breathing. And I think that is just foundational to everybody, not just C-sections mom or anybody. Even if you haven't really done workout for a really long time, I think starting from there, there's always a lot of benefits to helping you to build up that strength.
Exactly. And I also want to point out, because I have had a lot of clients come to see me after about a year postpartum, even more, and they have fear. They have fear because they don't know where to start or what to do, or in certain cultures think that women after having a baby should not lift weights, or it's unsafe, and these kind of things. So it's really, showing them we don't start with weights. Here's where we start. Here's where we progress. We build you up from here, from having maybe not the strongest core. And I guess the biggest buy-in for me, for my clients, is having them picture, where do they want to be in a year or 2 years from now? What do you want to do? Do you want to be walking around at the park with your child, and maybe they're a year old and they're learning how to walk, and you're bending over and you're walking with them. You've got to have core strength. You've got to be able to do this so you're not having back pain. Maybe in a year from now, you want to run a marathon. I don't know, whatever it is. Just like any other sport, you need to start at the basics. It's like teaching your kid how to ride a bike. You don't just plop them on and away they go. You have to start with those foundational movements. And that's exactly what we do. So now we can, when mom is comfortable, we can start to affect the C-section scar with our fingers. So the easiest way that I like to have my clients start is probably where they feel the safest, is in the shower. Their body is wet. They've got a sponge that is soapy, and you can just rub along the scar. However, just getting them used to something rubbing, touching on their C-section scar.
That's right.
There's many different techniques, of course. So what I like to do is take fingertips and rub in like a circular motion. So yeah, if you're doing here, rubbing, circular motion, and it doesn't always have to be on top. I like to start, so we start on the outside of the C-section scar and we rub around. So I like to rub, and when it comes to pressure, we're thinking of, on a scale, pain scale, 1 to 10, 10 being excruciatingly painful. We're not going there. I want you to feel around a 2, 3, a 4. What can I do that this feels good? This feels like I'm doing something and I'm moving the tissue and the fascia. So just one way to do it, I'm above my C-section scar and I am gently making circles. I'm going to go below and I'm gently making circles. Maybe you're ready. Okay, I can touch my scar. I'm ready to touch on top of my scar. So we gradually build up to that. And then we gradually get deeper with the massage as well. And one reason, well, a couple of reasons this is important. Thinking about the shelf again, right? Some reasons that moms may have the C-section shelf is because of the way that the scar has healed. So thinking about the scar, it maybe has been done really tightly. So what happens is a little shelf of skin may come above or may come below. And that is just the way that it has healed, the way that it's been sewed up. And absolutely by massaging the area can affect that. It can affect the way the underneath, how the tissue, the fascia kind of adheres to the tissue behind it. So we can affect that by C-section scar massage. Going back to what we talked about, the compression, leggings, pants, underwear. If you wear pants that are below your scar and they're tight, what's happening is that it's pushing up. So you're pushing up and you're creating another shelf, a shelf there. So that's why we want
I didn't think about that. You're right.
So we want compression that's even around the whole abdomen. And then, of course, nutrition could be the way that, the reason the scar is like that. And again, diastasis recti could also be part of the reason that we are having the little overhang as well. So these things over time can definitely affect the way that it looks.
You open up my world about C-section. I didn't think of it too much. I know the scar and all that. But I also know that, a lot of people, they didn't have a planned C-section. It was like a last minute emergency C-sections, or they were like just got into that situation that they had to choose C-sections over vaginal birth. So most moms are not prepared for it. And by the time they prepare for it, it's already the baby is here and they're now trying to take care of the baby and trying to understand more about C-section. It's just so hard. So I'm so happy that we're talking about this topic today.
Yeah, and you know what? It's true. Like it's never too late. Even if you have not planned a C-section, it's never too late. Of course, with wearing compression garments after the first 8-10 weeks, probably not going to need it. And it might be a waste of your money to be buying compression garments after 8 to 10 weeks. But all these other things, the exercises, the massage are definitely helpful. I wanted to point out one other thing in this time that we're talking about the 6 to 12 weeks. We're also thinking about patterning our movements. So thinking about what we do in daily life. Are we bending down, sitting in a chair, sitting on the toilet? That's a squat, right? We want to repattern how we're doing that. You're doing it every day. So let's think about it more as a exercise or in a exercise kind of mentality. Let's go over and repattern and learn how to do it correctly, using our core, using the glutes, the core muscles that we should be using, as opposed to our lower back or our upper back, which usually takes the brunt of the work. Hinging, thinking about picking up your baby out of a stroller or out of the crib or what have you, putting a car seat in and out of the car. This is heavy. So thinking and teaching moms how to do it properly and almost like in an exercise way. I have a car seat still in my house because I use it with my clients, because I teach them how to pick up, how to carry, how to lift, swinging it here, all this kind of stuff, right? So in that way, repatterning our movements, reactivation of all those muscles that we need to be using.
These are all very functional stuff. Picking up the baby, bending down to bath, bending down to pick up a toy. The car seat is so heavy. My goodness. Like it's only gonna get heavier. It doesn't get lighter.
Absolutely. That's why we need strong arms. Right. And then in 12 weeks and beyond, we get into re-strengthening. So just to reiterate, even if you are starting from square one and it's been a year postpartum, I always start my clients with the foundations, right? So we always go back to the foundations. It's just, you might not be there as long as some other people. right? So it's just how long are we spending there? So getting back to it, 12 weeks and plus getting back into re-strengthening, we're gradually building you up. So thinking about lifting weights. Am I going to give you a 20-pound weight right away? No, of course not, not off the bat, right? We're going to lift lighter. Let's see how many reps we can do. And then we gradually build it up from there. And it's quality over quantity at this point.
Yes.
And one thing I also want to point out, because I think a lot of, I've had a lot of moms come to me years postpartum and saying, I'm doing all the exercises I see. Usually it's around diastasis focus. I'm doing all the exercises I see on YouTube or Instagram, but I'm not seeing any change. And then when they finally come to see me and they learn that it's not about which exercises are done, it's how to do them. And they're like, oh my gosh, I just spent all these months or a year doing all these exercises that I was told was the right ones, but I didn't really know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it foundationally. They didn't know they had to engage their core, their deep core, their pelvic floor, and add it to the exercises. And so it's like
That
a big
goes back.
shocker
Yes,
moment.
it is shocker moment. Like your $1 million house that you explained earlier. Like you have this beautiful $1 million house, looks great inside and outside, but the foundation is not there.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. And then again, at these 12 weeks and on, we're still doing C-section scar massage. Now we're getting deeper. So we're not just rubbing on the skin, we're getting deeper. Maybe we're pulling. So one example could be a pull up and hold, and then we're pushing down, right? Really getting into there with more pressure. So what we want to do, and I want to point this out because a lot of moms will say, I don't have pain, I don't have problems, I'm ready to go back to hitting those heavy weights again. But like you said, with that foundations, you might not feel the pain yet, but what happens when you do lift that heavy weight and you're like, oh crap, I hurt myself, I injured myself, right? That's why we have to get our clients to buy in, that they do have to go through this time of maybe, yes, it's a little bit boring, but they have to do it. Think about your favorite sport, whatever it is. And I'm just thinking soccer right now. If you're a soccer player and you're injured and my best friend, she just injured her ACL. What happens after that? You have to go to rehab. Once the doctor says, guess what? You're all healed. You don't go back out on the field. No, you have to rehab it and you slowly build up the strength. It's the exact same thing that we have to do after C-section. We just don't think of it that way.
Well, C-section is a surgery.
And doctors aren't really telling us. They're not really telling us what we can do. And unfortunately, that's just how it is. So, moms are at their own Googling and trying to figure it out. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for talking about this. Now, where can people find you, Denise, and where can we learn more about your work and what you do and all the good stuff that you post? I know you have a big YouTube channel.
Sure. Yeah. My YouTube is probably my favorite. I love putting videos out. I have a whole C-section playlist for you. And I even break it down like, kind of there's a 5-video series. So check that out. You can find me on YouTube at Strong Mom. So I'm on YouTube /Strong Mom. I think you'll provide the links for everybody here as well. I'm also on Instagram at strongmom.ca. And lastly, I do have a freebie for anybody who's watching today, and it's my exercise after C-section guide. It's what to do and where to start when you don't know what to do. And so some of the things, actually a bunch of things that we talked about, I got stretches in there, how to belly breathe, how to engage your core, these things. We'll have that in the exercise after C-section guide for you. And I know Becky will have the link down below for you.
I will for sure. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming in on today. And it was just amazing. I am going to rewatch this myself and learn a couple more things. I feel that every time I talk to somebody different, even though maybe we are in the same niche or same space, I always learn something new. And that's I really enjoy having guests on my channel. So thank you so much once again.
Awesome. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.